welcome, and thanks for tuning in to the latest installment of the Driftr Podcast, Flights, Miles, and Abroad, with your hosts, Brandon Boone, Kiera Sandoval, and Brian Fontenelle. Learn how to maximize points, new interesting places to explore, stories from fellow travelers, and get your traveler questions answered from our weekly podcast.
And we're back for another episode of the Driftr Podcast, y'all.
Hey, what's happening?
Good evening, everybody.
What's up?
Man, oh
I'm
man.
so happy to talk to you guys today.
Yeah.
I know it's been a long time.
No, but I'm just happy you guys are safe out there in Austin.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
concerned this morning.
Ooh, yes. The bombings. I have a package from Amazon that sat on my doorstep for 2 days, and I've literally just looked at it.
Yeah.
I'm not opening packages.
I stepped right over it when I came over.
Yeah, he walked right over
I
it.
didn't even pay attention to it.
Like, it's been sitting on my
No
doorstep.
jokes.
All the text messages that people have been sending, don't open packages. I'm like, look, I'm expecting this one. I don't even know if I want to open it no more. Like, I might just have to be on a hiatus from Amazon for about a month.
Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Amazon
Well-
is good about returning items, so just send it back.
Yeah, I'm going to send it back. My reasoning, because packages are exploding out here, y'all, and I don't want to get hit. Well, so all our listeners, we want to apologize for not having been able to host our live show, but there definitely will be one coming up
Yes.
in the futures. So we missed y'all guys. It's been a long 2 weeks, it feels like.
Right.
I ain't talked to you
I
all in
think
a
so.
minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
South by was last week.
South by
Full
Southwest.
week, so I'm glad that's over. It was fun,
It was definitely fun.
but busy.
Yeah.
So,
Don't get any ideas about Austin, too. If you came by South by and you thought Austin was great, leave. Because we can't afford for y'all to come live here and then get on our roads and then get no cars. And then next thing you know, the highways are even more traffic clogged. So,
right.
That's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people out there.
yeah, come to South by and then leave. That's basically what we're saying. No, I'm playing. You can
Don't
come
come
if
to
you
DC either. I'm good. We're
Come to
full.
DC. Don't go to Austin.
We're full.
Snack Attack like, no,
Right.
you can't come hang with us. You can't sit with us.
We're full.
Well, let's go ahead and get the show kicked off for another episode. So, for today, we're going into our cards and points segment, starting off like we always do, talking about credit cards that you need to know how to utilize so that you can be traveling across the world, going to places that you never imagined. But guess what? You ain't paying, you're using points, y'all.
Get those points.
All about the points. So for today, we're going to take a break from looking at individual credit cards that we're focusing on, and we're going to move into looking at, hey, I need to start a credit card foundation. I already have good credit, I already have lots of credit history, but what cards do I start with? And so for today's episode, Brandon and I are going to break down 3 specific cards, specifically because they each represent a different way of credit card types. So from today's episode, we're going to pick one revolving credit card, we're going to pick a charge card, and then we're going to pick a credit card that gains miles but redeemed for credit. So to break things off, we're going to have Brandon talk about the Chase Sapphire Preferred as the card of getting started when you're getting into the cards and points game as a revolving credit card. Go ahead, take it away, Brandon.
Oh yeah, so we talking about the Chase Sapphire Preferred. If you do a little research, you'll find out that a lot of blogs, a lot of people recommend the Chase Sapphire card is a good beginner card for you. And we fully agree with that. It's one of the perfect cards to start off with. You don't need like a super high credit card score. It doesn't have a super high fee. It's just $95 a year. It's free for the first year. And you get a good bonus offer, which is 50,000 bonus points after you spend 4,000 in the first 3 months. So all those key elements right there is just make it a good card to get, especially if you're a beginner. On top of that, you get 2 times points per dollar spent on travel and dining. Like I said, it's a great sign-up bonus. It's easy to rack up points with ongoing spending and has an excellent shopping portal. So it kind of give you a good introduction on how to use those points through the Chase portal. And also give you an introduction on how to transfer points between airlines and hotels. And it's a good just learning experience. From that point, I think that's pretty much the basic of it. It's just an all-around good card. It's super good for beginners.
Yeah. And so what was your experience like when you first adopted the Chase Sapphire card?
Man, it was awesome. But I actually started off with the Freedom, but I didn't know anything about credit cards. I just kind of got something. But I would say this was pretty much my first travel credit card when I actually got into traveling. Points. Chase Sapphire was my first one, and it was awesome. Like, I learned so much from using this card. So
Definitely.
I'm still sitting on points from it.
Man, that's a true win right there. You still sitting on points?
Oh yeah,
Mr. Points Man.
keep it racking.
Keep them points coming. Well, shoot, you did a great job. Kind of overview definitely for those who have Chase Bank. Definitely recommend that card. So now I'm gonna switch it over to American Express, and we're gonna talk about one of the myths. A lot of people believe American Express, when it comes to credit cards, you can't get a card with a revolving credit card limit. But that's actually untrue. American Express has two cards. Those that have revolving credit card limits and those that are actual charge cards in which you pay off the balance at the end of the month. Now, the benefits of revolving credit cards is that you can carry balances. They charge you interest. With a charge card, you pay it off at the end of the month. You don't pay interest. So there's a little bit of a benefit there. Now, I personally have been using the American Express Premier Rewards Gold Card, and that's what I'm going to focus on today for our charge card segment. So when we talk about charge cards, why I like them. One, they give you the same benefits that you'll get from a travel credit card. But two, you can also utilize them in instances that you have expenditures that you pay through every month, i.e. your bills. You pay your electricity, we hope. I've seen some of y'all houses. It's been pretty dim. You pay your water bill. You pay a cell phone bill. There are all kind of bills that you pay on a monthly basis. A charge card makes a good card for expenditures that you're going to pay for that month. You can actually rack up a lot of miles just by paying your bills. Who would have thought? So that's my strategy. Find a card that you use to pay bills. But not only on top of that, when you talk about the American Express Premier Rewards Gold Card, I also plan all of my dining expenses on here. I plan any flights for trips sometimes because, well, now that I have other cards. But when I first got it, that was the reason why. You would get 3x points on flights, 2x points at the restaurants or gas stations or supermarkets. So best believe I was putting my gas on here. I was putting my restaurant purchases and supermarket. And plus, even though it has a $195 annual fee, you get a $100 airline fee credit. So I would use it to pay for extra baggage expenses or if I want to get an upgrade or some other things. But definitely when I think about charge cards, great cards if you pay your bills off every month to use on. Because instead of it coming out of your checking account, just make it come out of your credit card. And guess what? All those bills you paid every month just now paid you back.
Yes. Good points.
Easy way to get points. Easy way to rack it up. Easy way to travel for free. And so now covering our last card. There's a third type of credit card that a lot of people get confused about. And it's the fact that there's travel credit cards that exist, but they don't exactly help you as far as getting points you can transfer. So the two main types are cards that have points that transfer to airlines. Then there's cards that get points that just stay with that company. CapitalOne has a specific card that's actually very popular. It's called the CapitalOne Venture Credit Card. And with the Venture Credit Card, every dollar equals miles. And I say that in quotations because the miles that you're getting are nothing more than merely points with that issuer. And what happens is, what you do is you redeem those miles against any kind of travel-related credit charges. So, for instance, you charge a flight. If you have accrued enough points, you can redeem it to make sure that that flight charge disappears from your credit balance. It's kind of in the same sense of using a points card, but it's only limited specifically to travel purchases. So it's the last card, but it's an easy way for you to get into travel and miles if you don't want to think about, well, I don't want to have to think about what airlines these transfer to. I just want a card that's just going to work, period.
Right.
And it definitely does that. But also look at the benefits when you can transfer miles and redeem your miles for more points than a one-to-one transfer. Now, luckily with the Venture Card, every dollar you spend gets you 2x miles per purchase.
Why? Your quotations.
I gotta use the air quotes, bro. It's not really miles.
Come on, bro.
It's like, just say 2x points to make it easier for you.
Gotcha.
And plus, they have a good bonus offer that gives you 50,000 bonus. See, I'm gonna do it again. 50,000 bonus miles once you spend $3,000. So basically, it's like 50,000 points on your first $3,000 of purchase during the first 3 months. Now, this card doesn't have an annual fee the first year. but it charges you $95 the year after that. I forgot to mention also the Premier Rewards Gold card is the same. Both cards don't charge you. I think all three cards don't charge you an annual fee that first year. So you're paying it all in the second year. But those are three different kind of foundational cards when you think about credit cards that get you miles and points. So definitely would recommend that you take a look at each one of the three. Remember, you can get revolving credit lines, which is traditionally how credit cards work. You can get a charge card in which you pay off at the end of the month, but remember, you're not paying interest. So great card for paying your bills. Or you can do the venture one and the types of cards that give you quote unquote miles, but it's usually only redeemed against that issuer's thing for basically erasing charges off of your credit bill.
Bow.
Do you know if Venture has like a shopping portal?
I'm not too sure about that one.
I believe they do. It's been a while since it's been a while since I played around with
I don't
that
believe
card.
they do at all. We're looking at it right now. We don't see anything about a shopping portal.
But I thought you. Nah, I'm not
Nope,
sure.
it doesn't
No,
say
I don't
it.
think so.
No, they don't.
So basically, it's just a good card just to get points.
Yeah, I mean, like if you just wanted to start with getting, if you just want to start traveling, you're just spending all this, treating it like a cashback card, and eventually you use it to wipe off a charge. So you pay like $300 for a hotel, you have 30,000 miles, boom, the miles just paid for your hotel charge.
Right.
That's in the most basic way, that's just how it works.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your preference, Brian, as far as cards go? We know it's not the miles card. Do you prefer charge cards, or do you prefer just a standard revolving card?
For a beginner? Or just in
Yes.
general? Oh.
Well, no, I'm asking you specifically.
Oh.
Just in general.
In general, I mean, either a Chase or American Express works. And I like the issuers because they have the more benefits. But if I had to choose between a revolving credit card and a charge card, I just personally like charge cards. The reason why is because I just pay my bills off every month anyways. I could treat a revolving credit card like that. Like, as long as you don't get charged interest until the next month. So you make $1,000 worth of purchase, but you pay $1,000 off the end of the month. You're not charged interest into it. It's not until the revolving month. And that's how I treat all my credit cards. But one of the things I like about the charge cards is usually they give you a very, very high credit limit. So even though a charge card has a limited credit limit, they call it purchasing power. But the difference really is that they've approved you to spend up that much because they think you can pay that much off in a month. And so, like, you may end up getting a car where you can spend up to $50,000 in a month. And that comes quite advantageous. And it also changes as your credit score changes, so it gets higher and higher after a while. So, I mean, I like the charge card specifically because I'm already paying off stuff at the end of the month. My goal is not to carry a revolving balance, and it gives me more buying power. So that's just my personal purchase. But there's some things that I will put on a revolving credit card, because I do have a few with American Express that are revolving credit lines, and I do have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So it just depends.
Gotcha. Brandon, what's your choice?
I guess I'm kind of the same. I mean, I like my credit card, the Sapphire Preferred, but then charge cards kind of keep you in line. Like, you have to pay that balance off at the end of the month, so you can't really get out of control with it. So
Pay your bills, y'all.
right. So
We
I know,
advocate paying your bills on
right?
time.
Because sometimes you can get kind of out of hand and lose track of your spending. But with charge cards, like, you need to pay that ASAP.
Right.
So
Yeah. I definitely
my
say that
thoughts.
the charge card has definitely curbed my spending, because I know that my Amex bill is due on the 14th every month. So
right.
I'm not trying to stroke a whole check to pay my Amex bill every month. So yeah. So my billing cycle closes on like the 20th or 21st, and like I try to actually set a limit on my Amex Platinum so I don't go over the limit, like, to spend. So yeah, by the 20th or the 18th and 19th come, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to spend any more money for the month. I'm done. I'm at my cap. So yeah, I definitely prefer charge cards. It's just more discipline for myself.
Definitely want you to be wise in how you spend money, y'all.
Yes.
Every week, the Driftr Podcast features dialogue and stories from our travel community. Real stories from real travelers. If you want to join our travel community, please visit signup.driftertravels.com. Have a question about the podcast? Want to submit a question of the day or a topic for consideration? Send an email to podcastinquiry@driftertravels.com. We would love to connect with you.
All right, y'all. So if you're new to the cards and points game, you're really trying to figure out how you can get into it, we just gave you 3 different credit cards so you can start from a foundational perspective. So hopefully you have a little bit more knowledge on the different ways you can use 3 different types of cards to help reach your travel goals. So now we're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to talk with Snack Attack on a trip. And not just any trip. It's a trip that you need to go on, that you need to take to a place that is going to be beautiful and that you need to check out and get those IG pictures. Because IG pictures are life. And travel's bae. But for today's show, Snack Attack, where are we going today?
So today we're going to stay in North America, but we're going to go to a beautiful city. We're going to go to Vancouver, Canada.
Ooh.
Nice.
Are you guys familiar?
Yep.
Brandon, are you familiar?
I've been before when I was younger.
You've been there before?
Yeah.
Did you go when the tickets were like $40 that one day?
Well, I used to live
$40.
I used to live near Seattle, so we just drove.
Oh, okay. So then you can piggyback on what I'm going to say and let me know if the internet's giving me fluff or if it's correct.
If
okay?
I remember.
Yep.
So,
The internet.
a couple things about Vancouver. We don't need a visa. For U.S. citizens, you don't need a visa, but you do need a passport. So if you're going to the border, please make sure you have your passport. Okay. Number 2, Canadian dollar is comparable to the U.S. dollar, so you don't have to worry about spending too much money, or you just take your credit card or your charge card and handle everything with that. What I found about Vancouver, which was interesting, was it's a very pedestrian friendly city. The way that it was designed, like you can basically walk everywhere, ride your bike, or take public transportation. So I like that idea. Also, as you know, most cellular data plans in the United States now work in Mexico and Canada, so you might not have to worry about getting the international plan or always trying to log on to Wi-Fi. So that's a plus. Another thing that I really liked about Vancouver, it's actually known as one of the most green or sustainable cities. So it's a very, very, very clean city, a very, very lush city. So that's something I like. That's dear to my heart. Another thing I found interesting about Vancouver, it's actually a very diverse city, and it's one of the most diverse cities when it comes to ethnicities and linguistics. Most of the people in Vancouver, over 52% of the people in Vancouver, speak another language. So
That's dope.
I don't read that much about all these cities when I'm looking them up. Also, what made me a fan of Vancouver are all the things you can do outdoors. And from everything that I read, all the different articles, it's definitely a place that you want to go if you're an outdoorsy type of person. So in the winter, it's a great place for skiing and snowboarding. I know a lot of people that like to snowboard now. Whistler apparently is out there. I always hear the name Whistler, but I never knew where it was. So now I know that Whistler is actually in Canada. Did you guys know that?
Nope.
You did? Well, because he lived there. Do you snowboard, Brandon?
Do I snowboard?
Uh-huh.
I haven't before.
Oh, okay.
I plan to, though.
So Whistler's out there, and then Grouse Mountain is out there as well. So that's a great place for skiing as well. And the springtime, which is a good time to go, you can go fishing with a sustainable seafood company, which is called Organic Ocean. I think that would be pretty dope to go. You can go on the boat with them and you can fish with them. And then after you get the fish, when you get off the boat, you can actually take the fish around the corner and go make your own sushi. There's like a sushi spot around the corner where they teach you how to make sushi. So I thought that was interesting. If you go to Vancouver in the summer, which is part of their high season, you want to make sure that you book your Airbnbs and your hotels early. And while you're there during the summer, you can visit places like Kitsano Beach. You can visit the International Jazz Festival. And also in the summertime, I think it was in July, they have Canada Day. So there's plenty of festivals and things to do while you're out there.
That's cool.
And if you go in the fall, you have to make sure you visit Stanley Park, which is like their big park out in Vancouver. And there's also something called the CapitalOne Suspension Bridge, which is something you can walk across with your friends out there during the fall time. So there is plenty of food out there to eat. There's a big Chinatown area, and there are plenty of things to do outside while walking around everywhere. So If anyone's been to Vancouver, please let us know. I would love to see your pictures because all the pictures that I've seen online are beautiful. So, Brandon, can you co-sign any of that?
Oh yeah, from what I remember, it was a dope experience. Like I always wanted to go back to Canada just based off that experience when I was younger. So yep, I'll be back soon.
Yeah, all the pictures that I see of Vancouver, everything looks really, really clean. The streets are really clean. It's like a very, very environmentally friendly city, and also it's just like a lot of beautiful backdrops, mountains, and also I think there's an inlet out there or something like that. Hold on, let me see my notes here. I forgot where I wrote it down. Yeah, but there's everything that you can possibly think of. There's beaches, there's mountains, there's snowboarding. So everything that you're looking for, there are parks and all types of stuff that you can go out there and hang out. That's it. That's all I have for you guys.
Dope.
When we going?
Yeah, when we taking the trip?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go out there for a ski trip, so let's plan it.
Ooh,
That sounds like a bet to me.
right.
I want to go skiing.
It's time for me to get another stamp.
Maybe next year in January we can go.
Let go.
Sound like a plan.
Hey.
Let's
Do
make
you
it happen.
remember that?
Lit in
remember
Vancouver.
That, glitch that they had to Vancouver. It was like $43 from LA or something from the
I
out
missed
west.
that one.
Yeah, it was like $40.
Dang.
So I need a glitch to come through to Vancouver because I'll
Right.
definitely hop on it. And On the Run 2 is going out there too.
Ooh.
That's a good look.
All those tickets probably sold out, right?
Maybe.
Let's see. But that's it. That's all I got.
Bam.
Well, I'm sold. So whenever we're taking this trip, just let a brother know.
Gotcha.
Tickets will be bought. Feel like that. Tickets will be bought. Babies will be saved. Trips will be taken. In that order.
In that order? Okay.
In that order. All right. So, Snack Attack has sold me. We're taking a trip to Vancouver as soon as we possibly can. Well, as soon as we possibly can.
Yes, soon
Well,
as that
maybe
glitch comes
tomorrow.
through.
Whenever that glitch comes through. Or we just see the prices drop really, really, really good. So, you never know. Catch us on the fly, y'all. Well, now we're going to go on a trip. Just kidding. We already went on a trip. We're going to go on a conversation. We're going to have a roundtable discussion. And in the discussion, we're going to talk about things that are important to you as travelers. And every week when we do our roundtable discussion, we try to make sure that we're looking at from your point of view, giving you the insight that you need to be able to make better decisions as savvy travelers so that you can be fly in the sky. And for this episode, today's topic on our roundtable discussion is going to be travel vouchers. When do you accept and when do you decline? And we brought up this topic because a couple weeks ago, I mentioned to y'all, well, almost a month now. It feels like the time has passed real quickly. A month ago, I went to Singapore. And coming back from my Singapore trip, United Airlines offered a $800 voucher for me to take a later flight. And guess what I did?
You took it.
I first prayed to God. But after that, I took the voucher.
What?
And it begs the question. I ended up passing up last year in September a $2,000 voucher from Delta that would have landed me one day late, and I would have missed like half of the On the Run tour. Not On the Run. What's the tour that Jay-Z has? Oh, Made in America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would have missed Made in America, and I was very sad because that was $2,000 that I just passed up. But I got back $800, so I'm like $1,200 down. I just got to cash that $1,200 back.
I need that 2K, bro.
Right. You know. So
Facts.
I mean, that begs the question: when you get a $2,000 voucher for your flights, do you take it or do you pass it, like I did? Or when you get $800. So we're gonna have a discussion today about travel vouchers and helping you to understand travel vouchers. So. What are y'all's thoughts? Do you take travel vouchers? Do you pass them? When is that kind of thing that helps you to know, hey, this is the thing that says, yes, I need to take them? What are your thoughts?
If you ain't got nothing to lose, you might well take it.
What do you mean lose?
Like if you have nowhere to be, if you just like you have to be back home for a job, you got to go work in the morning or something like that.
I don't know.
Even then, I still might call in. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I might just skip work at that point.
Yeah, see, the way my PTO is set up, I can't skip work.
See, some people
there,
so. But if you're like me, I don't really got nowhere to be. I need that bag.
I got you.
Well, in my case for the what was it? I keep saying Made in America, but not Made in America.
What?
I keep thinking about Made in America. In my case, going to the what's the name of that show?
It is Made in America.
Oh, yeah. I said On the Run. That was what it was. Okay, yeah, in Philly.
Right.
I need that though. So, whenever I went to the Made in America show, I was going there one day early, and my flight would have allowed me a whole day late. And so at that point, I was also supposed to be meeting somebody out there, and I felt like, I don't want to leave them out there trying to find their way by themselves, and so I didn't take it. With the United one, I'm on the flight with my brother, and I'm just like, yo, we can split this $800, so we just get $400. And the flight was on like 2 hours later. I'm like, $400 for waiting like 2 or 3 hours? That wasn't too bad. And then what happened was our flight ended in going into one city, and we're going to spend the night there and take another flight the next morning. But because they delayed my flight, not only did they do that, they gave us an $800 voucher, plus they gave us food, and they took our flight. Instead of us going to New Jersey, we were going from LA to New Jersey to Austin. They went us from LA to Austin. So we just got there that night. We got there earlier. So that was my primary thing for what it was. Like kind of Brandon said, if you ain't got nowhere to go and you can afford, like it doesn't mess up too many plans that you have, I feel like you should just take it.
Facts.
I agree.
But I made sure also that we were the last people to like ask, because you don't want to be the first. You don't want to be the first, because when you're the first, they don't offer you the highest offer either.
Right. So it's like gambling. You got to kind of know when to call it.
Right.
Don't be too trigger happy.
That makes sense. But the way my PTO is set up, I got to get back to work. So
Yeah.
I'll let Brandon have it.
Ooh, I'll take it.
So wait, you have an $800 voucher with United now?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the ticket you want to use to go to Vancouver? Is that what you're
I mean, it could. So.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I just don't want to fly United anymore. No shade to United, but, it is what it is.
You don't want to.
It is what it is.
I was gonna say
I mean,
something
for
wrong
a free $800, you got to take it, right, Brandon?
Right. Facts. But I feel like you always get the vouchers though, Brian. Like I don't think I was ever offered a voucher yet to this day.
One time I got offered a voucher. I was going from San Fran back to DC in a Super Bowl, and I was trying to get back because I was trying to watch Peyton beat up on the Pats. I think the Falcons. That's when they played the Falcons. So I was trying to get back to watch that. So yeah, no, I didn't take it.
Mm.
I just have
my whole life.
Your whole life?
whole
All my life, I've tried to fight
I
for some
feel like-
vouchers.
Brian, you get like a voucher every other trip.
I really don't, though.
Bro.
So,
Whatever.
Shadow wealth, bro.
Don't be humble. Don't
no, I seriously do not get a voucher every trip. I just have something
It's
crazy
every
happen almost
other
every one.
trip. It's every other trip, Brandon.
Nah, it's
Right.
not every trip, though. But really, like, the real reason why they had the voucher is because the guy was sitting one row behind me, and he happened to tell a lady, I have another flight. I have to get to Boston, so I can't take this flight. And she was walking around like, hey, is it available for everybody? Because I'll take that voucher. $800. And the thing was, she said it was $500 when I said I would take it. I was like, all right, $250. I guess that works for 2 hours. When I got to the desk, they upped it from $500 to $800.
See,
That was God. That wasn't me.
just know our next trip together, I'm flying your Jack flight, bro.
You want my
I'm
flight
following your
plans?
Jack step.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. It wasn't. I didn't plan that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have the cahoots with United.
Or do
I hope
you?
not.
Nah. I don't have the cahoots, brother.
Oh man.
Brandon, that just means he's buying all of our flights to Vancouver. with
Right.
$800.
Nah.
Thanks, Brian.
I can't afford it unless it's 40.
$40.
Unless it's $40. Thanks for reminding me, because I really did forget I have this voucher. smooth forget it, and then a year later goes by and I never used it because it was United.
My birthday is next week. You can just put it in the mail today, and then I'll have it.
Bet.
Okay. Thank
Bet
you.
snack attack.
Dead serious.
Y'all funny. But, I mean, outside of just, like, travel plans, anything else that y'all think of when you think of a voucher? Because, I mean, I would think of the amount. Knowing the rules, they have to start around, a couple $100s, but they can go up to a few thousand. Like, I think it's like $18.50?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, that's the limit that they can go to. But some of them will go up to $10K, depending on how seriously they need that flight.
$10K. That's what I need.
Right.
Yeah, 10K would be dope.
Right.
I would never even say any shade about United ever again if I got 10K.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always like pressed for time when I'm flying somewhere, so it's just, I guess, worked in my favor that I haven't gotten any offers except for that one offer. So, and I always have to be to work the next day, so I haven't gotten anything. But you know what? I don't really try to take like United or Delta anywhere too much. I'm always flying like Southwest, and they never offer any vouchers.
I think that's what it is with me. Yeah, like
Yeah, I
like
always fly
80% of my
Southwest when I'm
flights is
flying
Southwest. Yeah.
So
Maybe y'all should
I
switch
think
it
that's
up.
what it is.
So when I run on these points, I switch up.
Yeah, but see, you travel more for work, Brian. So you're in the air more than us. So I
Not
think
really.
it's just-
I only travel for work twice a year.
Twice a week? What?
Twice a year. All the rest of those trips are my personals.
You know what? Go in your closet and go pray and shut the door when you say that prayer. And you better ask for a lot of forgiveness.
I didn't tell no lie, so I had nothing to forgive. I only tell the truth. So everybody like, you travel for work? I'm like, no, I don't.
Whatever.
So I'm just saying. I travel personally. I use my points. That's what I say. I tell it on the podcast every week. Use your points, y'all. Guess what I be doing? Using them points.
Yeah.
And those points land for me to get more opportunities to get vouchers. So I have to spend more points and save more money.
I'm not mad at the hustle. I'm just saying you travel more than we do, and so for whatever reason, right, Brandon?
Right.
Oh no, he does some funny business in other
Oh
places.
man.
You funny.
It's okay. I'm gonna get me a job where I can just do whatever and just travel all over the place one day.
That's what I'm talking about. Do it.
No, but I mean, like with the points, just like you guys, my last 5-6 flights, I haven't really had to pay for a flight. I just use my points for everything.
Yeah.
Can't be mad at that.
And even if you take a voucher, in considering a flight that has points, I mean, that ends up almost taking away the cost of your whole flight. Like when I looked at it, I was like, man, you know what? I basically just went on this trip for free. So that's the way to roll, y'all. That's the way to roll.
Let's go. I need me a voucher. Next flight, I'm getting a voucher. I'm calling it into existence.
Claim it, brother.
Oh, you know what? Southwest gave me $100 voucher when I went to. Remember when I was sitting on the tarmac trying to go to Austin, and I was sitting on the tarmac for like 2-3 hours.
I mean, that's the other way.
I got a $100 voucher for that. It was a love voucher.
I love voucher because they love you.
Yes,
They're
they
so
do
lovable.
Lovable. Yes. So I did get a $100 voucher for that. So I've technically been offered 2 vouchers.
Out of
Step your
100
game up,
trips.
Brandon.
Right. I'm behind.
You're behind.
Got to do better.
Next time you will. I believe in you. You have the knowledge.
I'm going for it, bro. I'm going for gold.
Going for
next
gold.
trip.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, all right, y'all. As Brandon goes for gold on the next trip, I hope that now you're more educated on how you can go out and seek your own vouchers so you can go to the gold. I want to see you and Brandon like in the Travel Olympics together, like going in there. All y'all that are listening now need to be on the Travel Olympics. I'm just telling you, because you're getting all the insight like for free $99. Like I feel like we should have gave this away with like Kanye's album. But you know what? It's been real talking with y'all, and we enjoy y'all on the show. Definitely tell your friends. Tell your friends about the podcast. Tell them on iTunes. Tell them check it out on Google Play. Tell them check it out anywhere we have it. I just want to be able to give more people inspiration and more abilities to be able to travel in the ways that you want to. And we continue to take your questions that you have and turn them into our podcast segments. So go to driftrdtravels.com and go to the website. You'll be able to go to our podcast page. And on that page, you will find a link to being able to submit your questions. We want to hear from y'all. Tell us what you want to hear on the podcast. We want to answer those questions that you've always been burning to ask, but you never had someone to ask to. So think of us as kind of like that big brother, big sister you always wanted. Mm-hmm. Or the one that you have, but you just want to replace with a better one. No, I'm just kidding. Your family's good. But, we're here for you. We always want to hear from you in the community. Come join us in our Slack so we can talk to you on a daily basis and just answer things that you may have in between podcasts. So we're giving you a couple different outlets. We want you to connect with you, but let us know how things are going. Let us know what we can talk about in the podcast, and definitely reviews anywhere you hear our podcast so we can know if we're doing things right. Hopefully we're doing things right.
Hopefully.
But it's been real like always. Until next time, it's one of your co-hosts, Brian Fontenot,
Brandon Boone,
and Kiera Sandoval.
Peace.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Driftr Podcast, Flights, Miles, and Abroad. Enjoyed the show? Make sure you review us on iTunes. Share the podcast on social media with your friends, family, and fellow travelers. Want to be featured on our podcast or have a question about travel you need answered? Visit driftertravels.com/podcast to learn more and to be a part of our show. Be on the lookout for our next episode. Until next time, Driftr family, travel safe.